to another episode of House of Clemente. I'm your co-host, Montana.
And I'm your co-host, Marco. And first of all, I just want to ask how you've been recently.
I've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Everyone has their power. The grocery store wasn't like a zoo this time. No more than usual is what I mean. No more than usual. I'm trying to think because, like, I don't have a lot to talk about that you and I haven't already caught up on. I've been, of course, like, watching a lot of, like, the E-Files. Probably too much because it's all, now, like, my TikTok, like, the entire For You page is nothing but these files and the drops. And, like, of course, they lead you down other rabbit holes and stuff. So, like, I have had zero time to just, like... because everything has been those files and then conspiracy theories. And then people like, Ryan Garcia was right. And I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
He's a boxer.
Well, I know that now. But like at first I was like, why is he on my For You page? And so that's it. That's been my whole week. How about you?
My week has been pretty jam-packed, full of knowledge and memorization. And policies and procedures and just the whole...
Big boy stuff.
Yes, the whole 9 yards. There's something in my eye. Hold on. Sorry. Anyways, I'm going to keep talking. Bear with me. But my week has been pretty good. I've got back into, my prayers. I've gotten back into my daily Bible reading. So, I've coming off of, last week we were talking a lot about the fast. And... I guess I'm kind of still maintaining the flame of just like that closeness of being with God and everything.
That's episode 2. Go check it out if you haven't already.
On YouTube and Spotify.
What you doing? Oh, that's another thing. Like, I know like you're not really supposed to talk about stuff before it's done, but I'm trying to get our podcast also on Apple Podcasts. It's just taking a little time because... it's very picky. I do a lot of my like business for the collective on a like PC desktop, and it's very like you need to use an Apple or else like we're gonna kick you out. So like I just haven't prioritized the time to like move all of my files over to like this one. That way I can actually do all of that. But
you got $1,000 that I can use for a Mac then?
Man. And of course I have an Android phone, so I can't even download like the podcast Apple Creator app. I can't even download that because I have an Android. So I love my Android. It's my little flip phone. It's cute. I'm only mad because the carrier we have didn't have it in pink.
Yeah.
That was the only downfall.
That's how I felt when I upgraded and they didn't have my phone in purple anymore.
They have it now. If you want to like spend $1,500 on a new one, when there's nothing wrong with yours that you got like 6 months ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just upgraded to iOS 26. Like, man, I don't need a new one.
I've been seeing also like on my For You page, whenever it's not like conspiracy theories and rabbit holes, I've been seeing a lot of talk of like Valentine's Day coming up, and I don't know, some of it's kind of been making me sad because, like, aside from, like, the reality shows that already damaged a lot of it anyway, like, a lot of people, like, they're even talking about, oh, I've been married, like, 20 years, never had flowers, or, like, we don't go out on dates, like, the flame is gone, and, like, all this stuff, and I'm just like, dang. Like, I know that you and I haven't been married for decades or anything, but I'm just like... I still try to look cute, and like we go out on little dates, even if it's just to the grocery store. We make like a little day out of it. We get like some chicken and wedges, and like we're just having the best time in the grocery store. Yeah. And so it's, I don't know, like I guess like with this episode coming out right before Valentine's Day, I was like, maybe we could talk a little bit about like some of that like love or like more hookup culture, I guess. And I hate it. I hate hookup culture. I want to be a trad wife so bad. Like I want to be traditional. Like, yeah, you go work, you have a good time, let me take care of the kids, and let me bake, and, like, do all this stuff. Like, I don't know what's wrong with that. I don't know what's wrong with us having our roles, because, like, you allow me to be independent. Like, there's never a thing where you're like, Montana's had a thought, time to beat that out of her, or anything. But, like, it's so easy to also be like, no, like, you're the head of the house. So, like, I run things through you out of respect, not for permission. You know, so like I get where sometimes like some of the stuff has gotten blurry for people who have not been brought up that way. But I don't know. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, even if I didn't know what I know, I just don't think that this life would be appealing to me. Because like y'all are swapping each other out and like you're giving yourself away and you're not even getting flowers in return. Like you're worth a lot more than flowers, whether you're a man or a woman. You're worth a lot more than flowers and a dinner. But like you're talking about not even getting the bare minimum from a date, but you've given more than what they like should have been even been allowed to have. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to like shame anybody, but I hate it. Like I don't know, it just made me sad. Like have you seen anything like that, or like what's your thought on that?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen more of like exact scenarios, but I know for a while my For You page was so messed up. I guess the final season, most recent season finale of Love Island came out. So like my For You page was like pushing all of that so hard. Like I'd get videos on my For You page of people talking like, and they would just mention random names, and like usually like I read through like TikTok posts. And I'm like, I don't recognize these people's name. Like, who are they talking about? And like, I look down in the caption, it'd be like #Love Island, and I'm just like,
I had that too.
Yeah.
But see, like that's kind of like the issue to me that I have is like we've normalized this type of a culture so much, and like I said, I'm not shaming anybody. Like it's your body, have fun, whatever you can live with. I could not live with it, and like I said, even without like biblical principle and stuff, I still just feel like I have more to offer than just like my body parts. And I always wanted somebody that had more to offer than just in the bedroom.
Right.
Because, I mean, there's times that, like, if we're just going to talk real life, there's times that that doesn't happen. You could be sick. I mean, like, life can make you so busy that you're tired. Like, that's not a thing. So, like, if you don't like the person across the table from you, you're in trouble. Like, if all you got together for was, like, this physical connection, I mean, what did you think you're going to do when you're 80? Like, you think you're still going to have that physical connection, and if not, you're out? Like, that's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I feel like with TikTok, like, showing us stuff that, like, we've never liked things to lead us to here. Like, we're constantly, as a society, promoting that. And then we wonder why, like, so many young people are in the state that they're in, and they have this long roster that they have. Like, you should not be proud of your roster. I don't know. That's my opinion.
It is pushed really heavily, especially with like, I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that point, but like I just want to mention that like I've never watched an episode or even like a clip of Love Island. So like I don't exactly know what it's about. I like see the previews for it whenever it comes like on Hulu, like an ad or something. So like from there I can tell like, oh yeah, I guess to each his own, but like you said, it's just not something for me because like watching it, I'm like, it's just a bunch of drama, and it's supposed to be like these hot people all coming together. And is it actually on an island?
I don't know, but like the only thing somewhat like that I've ever watched, it wasn't even The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. It was The Golden Bachelor. So it was like elderly people. And I watched it just because I was like, why y'all got elderly people on here like going at each other over a man? I just thought it was funny, like the concept of it. So like I watched it and I ended up finishing the season because like I was just like so invested. Like there was drama every single episode. But even with that, I was like some of y'all, like you were 60 years old. And, like, this man was telling you, like, hey, I had just slept with this one, but tomorrow I'll sleep with you. You know, and I'm like, speechless. Like, I just don't know. like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to brag that you've been sleeping with all these women in the compound? Like, you used to get locked up for stuff like that. And now, like, we just talk about it. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, I saw even, like, this one post. Like, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want people to go looking for it. I don't want to encourage it or nothing. But she's, like, an OnlyFans person. I don't call them models because you're not a model. But you can walk outside naked for free. Like, you're not a model. But, so, she was doing this thing where it was like sleeping with 1,000 guys in 24 hours. Or maybe it was 2,000. I don't know. But it was a big number in 24 hours. And like they showed videos of like people like lined up outside, like around the building, where they would just walk in and do what they did and left. And it was filmed, like it was broadcasted. And I just thought like that poor girl like just gave her soul away multiple times to multiple different people. Not to mention like the health aspects of it. Oh my gosh. But I just thought like how empty do you already have to be that you think like that's all you're worth? Like that's all you can do. Mm. Like I guess like the whole point for me is that like, you know, because Valentine's Day is a Saturday, and then of course like just the state that we're in general, it's just like we get confused so much on what love is. And a lot of the things that we call love is just lust. And everyone like has a little bit of a struggle with that because we're human, and you know, if your body is alive, it's going to go through something like that. But it's just more of like, I love you, not your body. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like that's something that God made for us. But I love like the person. You know, like if you're attractive, which you are, like that's just a plus for me. But I love you as a person, and like your heart and your soul. Like that's. I love to talk to you and things, and like I love when we go on our little dates, even if it's just like we went and got some boba downtown. Like that's like the greatest time for me. Or like we've got to where we go to the library like every other weekend or so, and like we get new books and we'll just read our books, and then we talk about our books, and it's like, oh, like what have you been reading? And you know, like that's like a little date. It's nothing special, but it's just like it's special to us. Right. And so I guess like that's just where my headspace has been, just because it's like where did we like cheapen it? Like where did it start that we started cheapening something that was priceless?
I think where we started cheapening it is probably when people started to realize that they could get that satisfaction of that like temporary connection without the commitment. Yeah. And it's because like it's not even like who they might be, but it's more of just like, you know, you could have had a connection with somebody and like they did you dirty. So it's like, well, I don't want to ever be close to somebody like that ever again. But like you said, like your body is still your body. Yeah. So I think that's where it started to happen. I can't date back to like a specific, like this is when it happened.
This is a milestone. Yeah.
Do you think, honestly, like it could have gone back even to like Old Testament times when like husbands had like multiple wives, you think?
See, like that's actually always been something that confused me, because I was like, okay, like God gave Adam Eve, not like Eve and like plus 3. He gave him Eve and told them like you're a union, you know, like she is your rib. And like go forth and multiply. Right. So like it was very obvious, and like whenever I was looking for like the verse like I kept referencing the other day, like when I was looking for it, I even passed over a section that was titled like the principles of marriage. And it's like it's very obvious when you're reading it, like it's 2 people. That's it. Mm-hmm. But yet like in the Bible, like they had like a harem. And I'm like, you know, I don't know like where the answer is. I don't know why they did that. Like I don't know what the culture reasoning was, other than because they were like, let's have a lot of kids. But you know, like to me, like I always thought like the story of Jacob and Rachel. Like when I was little, I loved that story because I just thought it was so sweet. I was like, wow, he loved her so much. Like he worked 7 years with his hands to get that woman, and then like he was done dirty, and he's like, no, I want her. Like I realize you did this to me, but I want her. And even like, you know, Leah had several kids, but his babies came from Rachel, and that was just Joseph and Benjamin. Like the extras were kind of getting on his nerves. Like I'm sure he loved them, but they were the problem children, you know? And so I just think when you see like the examples in the Bible of like real love between people, it was just 2 people. It was never like all these others. They just had the kids. I don't know, like obviously like there was perversion of everything God made in Bible times. But it's just, I feel like it's intensified, and maybe it's just because, like, everything's in our hand, and, like, there's 24/7 media. But I feel like everything's just more like, look at how horrible it is. Like, it's intensified to, like, the maximum power, you know? I don't know.
I think, like you just said, but, like, basically phrasing it another way is that it's just so much easier to access, I guess.
Like the dating apps. And
yeah, right. Because it's like, anybody can sign up and create a profile to do that. And I don't know, you can just start texting. I don't know how it works.
I don't either. I've never used one because I was like, I don't like talking to people. Why would I want to meet up with a stranger?
But, like, I think, with all, like, bad things that continue and there's no correction to it, I guess it becomes accepted. Like, it's still, like, in the back of your mind, like, this is wrong. But then, if you're not in the right mindset, it's like, well, everybody else does it. Everybody else does it. What's wrong with me doing it too?
Well, like, one thing that you had said where it was kind of like, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but you had said, like, it was being able to have that connection without having to have any commitment. And I feel like the hookup culture is even what was able to amplify the abortion culture. Because it was like, I remember growing up, like, the number one thing I was like, you never want to be a teenager and be pregnant because, like, oh, like that, it's absolutely horrible. Like, you've ruined your life. Like, you don't want to do this. And I mean, kudos to the people who were able to still, like, do their thing. But it was just more of like, once you could have an abortion, and they fixed it where you didn't even have to have your parents' permission to have an abortion. Like, if you were a minor, you could still go to these clinics and do it. Then it was like, well, I can go to sleep with whoever I want as much as I want, and I don't have to have a baby because, like, you've taken that commitment away from me. Like, it's not going to ruin my life. For some reason, we forgot about STDs for, like, the past 10 years, but it was like, at least I don't have to feed another being, And I just feel like that's, when you start looking at, like, these things in our culture, you see where, like, they all kind of, like, start locking into each other, where it's like, well, because of this one was able to grow. And then because you had this was able to grow. You know what I mean? So it's like when you let one thing get perverted, which I feel like the church does a lot. Like, we just sit down, we're like, that's okay because it's not happening here. Yes, it is.
It's not happening in our little entourage of just
fake perfect people,
saints. Like,
right? Like when you sit down and you're like, oh well, they want to be gay over there, which is against the Bible. But I'm not going to look at it. Like, as long as you don't bring it over here, that's a problem. Like, because what happened was, it wasn't that we were hating people, but it was according to biblical principles. You had now failed. And because you allowed one group of people to do something, now the whole idea and definition of marriage has been uprooted and thrown away. And now it's like everybody can get a piece of paper. Like, we've been watching, like, the Gypsy Rose Lifetime show because for some reason that's just been our kick with, like, where TikTok was before the E-files, we had the G-files. And so, like, we started watching, like, The Act and stuff like that, and now we're on the Lifetime show. And we had just watched an episode where I think it was her dad, because, she was going through a divorce. Maybe you don't know. I'm saying it like everyone's been into this. But she was going through a divorce. And her dad was like, well, marriage is just a piece of paper. And it kind of made me sad because I'm like, I used to have that mindset where, like, hey, you can always get out of it. Don't worry about it. Now, to an extent, I do kind of feel like you don't have to ruin your whole life and waste away just because you married the wrong person. That's my own personal belief. I don't think it's biblical, but I just think nobody's perfect. We're all going to sin. That one would just have to be mine because if you're going to beat me, I'm out. If you're going to cheat on me, I'm gone. But marriage is not just a piece of paper. But because we've allowed so many things to determine what marriage is and what love is, now we're all so confused that we think that a biblical-based covenant between you and this person and God is just a piece of paper. And, like, if anyone ever read the Bible, you would see when people started breaking covenant, God started breaking you. So, like that was very much like a mafia type ordeal. Like, if you were trying to, like, double cross me, you've done made me your enemy, and I'm God.
Right.
So you're not winning this one.
But it is really just a shame that like that has been the mindset of so many people. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where, like you said, it's because this happened, this was able to grow. And because that happened, now we have, marriage is just a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. But like I said earlier, like it may not even be that like that's your personality. It may just be like you came from somewhere broken. Mm-hmm. And, that can mess up your whole perception of love. And I wanted to like also go back on what you said about like we were just talking about the church and how like it's been letting a lot of things happen because it's just sat down. It's like, as long as it's not happening over here, we're good.
Yeah.
And then it's like you said something along the lines of like, if you did this, like you basically failed. And it's just like, well, I mean, yeah, maybe like in the Old Testament, but like when Jesus came along, like he didn't care about your failures. Mm-mm. He didn't care about your failures. He just wanted you to be with him. Like he was willing to forgive you. He was willing to forgive you, and he didn't see you as a failure no matter what you had done. And he sacrificed himself for you. So in all those actions that he took, it was like he was choosing love each time.
Absolutely. Well, and scripture says, John 3:16, everyone knows it. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it big picture, the Old Testament is full of man ticking God off. And it wasn't because he, hated us. He didn't hate us, but it was just we couldn't get it right. Mm. And he tried to dumb everything down to the point of just, here's 10 laws, which like when you read them, they're very easy. Like, don't kill somebody. Okay. Like, don't go after someone else's wife. Okay. Don't steal. Okay. Like serve only one God. Okay. So like those are very simple things, but we couldn't even live under those 10. Like we were still failing him every day. But instead of just wiping us out, which the Bible even documents where he had to repent because he wanted to wipe us out. Like he was just fed up with all of us. And he was like, no, because I said I wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't want to just throw us completely away. He loved us. So he did something that actually hurt him, which was giving up his son and having his son come down here to be ridiculed and lambasted, blasphemed, and then eventually tortured and beaten to death.
Right. But going back to what you said, where it was just like he gave us 10 simple laws, right?
Right.
It just reminded me of like the first thing that popped into my head was they got 10 simple laws, right? But I'm trying to think of like a specific example, like after they got the 10 Commandments.
This is right where you're reading.
Right. Moses is literally coming down with the rules that say, have no other idols before me. Mm-hmm. And smack dab at the foot of the mountain is a golden calf, what you said. So my first thought is, you're given these laws and these rules. It's when you let stuff infiltrate that the culture starts to change. Mm-hmm. Stay with me now. Mm-hmm. Adam and Eve, they were given rules. When the snake slithered in and temptation happened, that outside force, the culture changed. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here now. Marriage, like we said earlier, like in the Old Testament, like people still had a lot of wives, whatever, concubines. But, like you said, there's been an idea of marriage. Mm-hmm. And the ideal is between two. So that's, at least here in America, like that's been kind of the groundwork. But when you start getting shows like Love Island is the most recent one. But like when you get shows like The Bachelor, when you get shows like Love Island, when you get all these movies and these media about spouses cheating on each other, or, you know, the whole deal of like, well, there's a new young employee in the building, I guess, whatever that scenario is. Mm. When you start to let things infiltrate your guidelines and the right thing, that's when the culture starts to change. That's why now we have the thrill instead of that connection. We have that shallow connection instead of the commitment. Because we've let the culture change. Mm-hmm. Because we were not set in our ways. Because we let temptation come in. So it's like a classic example of history repeats itself. But the reason why Jesus was sent down here was because God wanted to break that cycle. At least that's how I interpret it, like pertaining to this subject. Mm-hmm. Because he's like, I see the culture change where love is being interfered with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to set in place for all time, for all history. This is it. This is the ultimate form of love, so that you know that no matter what you did, I love you. No matter what you're going to do, I love you. Anything of that nature, God still loves you. Mm. And not only that, but like I said, no matter what you may do in the future. So it's like you may let that temptation come in again, but you can always crush its head. Because my love is everlasting.
That's very good.
Thank you.
That was very good. Well, and you know, like I was like when you mentioned like the garden and the serpent, I always go back to that because recently I had heard someone talk about how, you know, the serpent didn't like force Eve to take a bite. All he did was say, what if God lied? Mm. And that little seed was all it took for the fall of man. Mm. And when you really look at it, that's what you've seen happen with everything. Is like that, still that same, I'm sorry, my sinuses are acting up on me, but it's still like that same like question from the enemy. What if God lied? What if you've been told incorrectly like all your life? What if your parents really don't know what they're saying? Mm. And then you started seeing like this fall away, where like these poor kids, like they don't know what they are. I mean,
what if it's not as bad as they say it is?
Yeah, it's like, well, I heard a professor say that Cuba was great. Okay, go live there because you're going to be killed. Like when you're under communism, you don't want communism. Like I don't understand why people don't understand that. And that's not a political statement. That's just a fact. Anything that we ever used to learn in history about communism was usually like Hitler and the Holocaust. Like you don't want communism. Like when we started questioning, well, what if this won't really send me to hell? Like, what if we've just like interpreted the Bible wrong? First of all, dangerous territory. But second of all, look at the state you're in now. When people want to come to me and they're like, I'm a Christian, I'm gay, I'm trans, I'm on antidepressants, I go to therapy 4 days a week, you can't tell me I'm not going to heaven. I kind of can. And the fact you're on antidepressants with all that tells me that something didn't work. But you've been told, well, but what if you changed your gender? You'd be happy. Because you have such a bad self-body image. What if you did love a little differently and you'd be happy? Like, what if they were all wrong? What if the Bible was misinterpreted? What if the Bible is, like, outdated? Okay, you on antidepressants. All these things that you were told to do that would make you feel better about yourself, you hate yourself more every single day. Mm. And that's not a put down on somebody that's having to do it. I've been depressed too, and I probably needed pills, but I wouldn't take them. Like, it's not a negative that you're in that spot. It's a negative that you've stayed in it. Right. And that you won't take, you know, like if you were willing to listen to the enemy say, like, what if you've been told wrong? Why can't you listen to Jesus say, what if you've been told wrong? Same question, different purpose, different voice, but one that's actually willing to help you out instead of being like, you know, screw you, you messed this up, like you're a freak. Jesus doesn't look at you like that. Some of his people might, but Jesus doesn't. He knew you were going to do all of this when he died for you. And so I just think, like, if we could remember what, like, real love is, you would just see, like you said, a culture change. You would see a huge culture change. Because even, like, whether it's the ICE stuff, it's the racism stuff that was taking place, whatever it is, it's a heart problem. And it's because we don't love each other, because we don't love ourselves, because we forgot what that word even means. But if we could remember that, you would start seeing all of these things, like, just start crumbling.
Right. And I kind of wanted to touch back what you were saying. It was like, you know, I'm like following Jesus, but I'm on antidepressants, or like I'm still depressed. You can deal with depression. I'm not saying that, like, you know, you become a Christian and your whole life is just going to turn around. Right. You can deal with that stuff, but like the Bible tells us that God's presence is our joy. It tells you that you need joy, you need help, you need love. Like, you can depend on me. I don't want to lose it. It was good. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. I'm getting there.
Let him cook.
Let me backtrack. You are supposed to depend on God alone for your joy. And I know it's slipping away the more I do it. Anyways, if you have something to talk about, another point to bring up, maybe I'll remember it in a second.
But so, like, you're talking about how, you know, like, you can still be a Christian and be dealing with depression. Is that what you're like, your point is that you're trying to be, because the Bible tells you that, you know, your strength is in Christ and that he gives you joy. The joy of the Lord is my strength. And
yes.
Is that it?
Okay.
I
remember.
Okay. I was just trying to throw something.
Yeah. So it's like you can deal with depression. That wasn't the main point, though. It was more of like, when you seek God out and you genuinely seek out his joy and his love, he's going to meet you where you are. And it's like, the closer that you grow to him, the more that you start to change, the more that his love fulfills you. And when that love fulfills you, it's kind of like it overflows you. So that gives you the resources that you need to love others better. Like, say, I'm in a bad spot before, like, we got married. And, you know, I'm distant from God, and like, I meet you and like, you're, you know, perfect saint. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I want to get with her so bad, but like, I know the way that I am, like, I can never do it. So it's like, okay, I know Jesus, like, I haven't talked to him in years though. So let's say I pray, I go to church, I get closer to God. Instead of it becoming my main focus being on, Jesus, I'm focusing on you so that I can get with this woman. Instead, it becomes, Jesus, I'm focusing on you because your love is so fulfilling that I'm still attracted to this woman. But instead of being like, oh, I need that instant gratification, it's instead like, he changes your heart. So it's like, instead I see you as, like you said earlier, like, I love you for you. It's like, I see her spirit, how good it is, how solid she is. I see her heart, her like loving and kindness and everything. And, you know, because like I said, God's love is so fulfilling. It's like, it changes me to the point where like, I love myself enough now that I don't have to focus on being with you just because you're there. But I get to focus on actually loving who you are, because God's love fulfilled me to where I love myself, to where I'm overflowing with love that I can give to you.
There you go.
Right.
Well, and the thing with that too is that the more that and when you start out, like the space you were in, the space I was in when I first broke down bawling in my room because I just needed help. It's unpleasant at first, and it hurts because you have to be very like raw with God. Because and like God knows, but he needs you to bring it to the table and just plop it down. And that was kind of like how I felt was like a little kid whenever I went through mine. I was just like, Dad, I can't do this anymore. I refuse. Like, I just don't know what to do. And that was when, like, he and I started having more conversations. And like I said, this isn't tears. This is just my allergies. I don't know what's happening. But, so, like, I went from being super angry at everybody to all of a sudden, like, my heart started softening. And then I went from looking in the mirror and hating myself, like not just like physically, but just like everything I hated about myself, to being like, well, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And I was made in Christ's image. And he thought I was to die for, you know? So like I started viewing it like, no, I'm a princess of a king. And so I need to walk like one. I need to view myself as one, because like a princess is worthy of good things and of feeling good about herself without, you know, the vanity aspect of it, I guess. But all of that started to change. And if I had met you before I had met Jesus, I wouldn't have been able to love you. And I wouldn't have been able to allow you to love me, because you're very gentle with your love. Like you're very like accepting and you're patient with me. Everything the Bible says that love is, that's what you are. And I would not have accepted it. I'd have been like, ew, like, I don't want this. Not even ew in a bad way, but just more of like that kind of love doesn't exist. That's like a fairy tale type of thing. And like, that's for the birds. Like, I don't want this. Have a good day. And I would have walked off. And so much so that I was still so much like in a progress of it that when we met and you started trying to pursue me, I was like, please leave me alone. Like, I would not have anything to do with him. Not like in a mean way, but I was just like, I thought that you were very handsome. And I felt a pull toward you, like the more that you were texting me and stuff. And I was just like, please stop texting me. Like, I would put my phone on Do Not Disturb and everything. And for the longest time, he fell for it. And then all of a sudden, my phone went off anyway because he pressed like the little like notify anyway button. And it was over.
It works.
It was...
Discretion advised.
If he had been within reaching distance, it wouldn't have worked, because I would have choked him out, because I was still a work in progress. And my main, my instant reaction was like, I was ready to cuss him out because I was tired. It was bedtime, but he was still bothering me. And I was like, please, like the more that this is taking place, the more that like, I don't know how to distance myself from you. It's obvious you had like a master plan, because here we are. But But like if I hadn't have known the love of Christ, I wouldn't have been able to love myself. I wouldn't have been lovable, and I wouldn't have been able to love other people. And it's not that I had it perfect starting out. You didn't have it perfect when we got together. But sometimes just a little bit of love can change the whole like atmosphere of the room. And maybe you're the only one that's going to have it. Like maybe you're in a room and everyone's just screaming at each other. Maybe that's how your family reunion is. I don't know. I'm sorry. But sometimes like you being the love in the room could change everything. And, you know, maybe your family will look at, mine did. My family looked at me and they're like, are you okay? like my mom would be like, something's really different about you. And then I was like, I guess. Because for a while I didn't notice it. Because it started like with little small changes. But I just noticed that like my mindset started changing because I was hearing more of what God had to say about me. And then thinking about, well, if God could say that about me, God could say that about them. So then I had to try and fix how I talked about other people, which I'm still working on. And like, but you see like an individual culture change.
Yeah. And I thought you brought up a really good point that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. It's just like, when you're met with genuine love, it's more of like,
what the heck is this?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Why do you do that? But that goes back to the culture change, you know? Because it's like, Genuine love has always been genuine love. But because we are so clouded with all this filth and these distractions and the temporary satisfaction, we've lost the whole message of what love really is. Mm-hmm. And, when you experience something like that, most people aren't comfortable with something like that. Something, I guess, new, but also like genuine. So it's like, what are you doing? But I also wanted to bring up one thing where it's like, that was just a quick point. But the main thing I wanted to ask is just like, there's people that may be watching that are like, oh, well, like, I don't have a spouse yet. Oh, I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a girlfriend, whatever. I just want to ask these questions. Do you truly love Jesus? Do you truly love yourself? And do you truly love others? Because like I said, when you truly love Jesus, his love is always abundant for you. And like I said, it changes parts of you. Like you said, I know a lot of people were telling the both of us, it's like, yeah, you just look happier. Mm-hmm. Because it was changing us on the inside first before it got to like the external. Do you love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, how can you expect to love someone else? Because I guess in a way, it's like you could see the flaws that you have about yourself. So you look for somebody else in order to fix those flaws. But there's nobody that can fix those flaws but you. You can't depend on anybody else to fix those things for you. If you want something that you want changed, change. If there's something that you can't change, like I said, that part of loving Jesus goes into, do you love yourself? When you love Jesus, his love is abundant. That spills over into yourself, which helps you love others. But I know that's a big question for a lot of people, is just like, oh, I've been praying for one. I've been believing for one. But it's like, are you right in your environment? Are you right in your mindset? Are you right in your heart? There's a lot of things that go into it other than just, yeah, I think I can love somebody.
No way. If you don't love yourself, there's no way you can love somebody else. And the right one can come along and you are messed up, because God will answer your prayer. You got to be very specific. Learned that the hard way. My poor sister learned it the hard way. We all learned it the hard way, where you have to be very specific when you're praying to God about something like this, because, people are a responsibility, and people are impacted by people. So when you pray for God to send you a partner, send you a spouse, I don't really like partner, but when you pray for God to send you a spouse, and you haven't been praying for God to fix like A, B, C, and D, he'll send you the spouse. And then it's going to be the right person that you could do a lot of damage to, because you were not the person that you were supposed to be when you met them. Mm. So sometimes I don't want to say I didn't pray for you, because I did, but for a while, I was not concerned about a spouse. I was kind of like fine with not having one, because I just kind of felt like I was a mess and other people were a mess, and I was trying to just deal with my own instead of dealing with someone else's, because my own almost killed me. So I was like not to trauma dump, but I was just very focused on taking care of myself for a little while, which was a good thing. Like, I needed to be in a better spot before I became someone else's responsibility. So I prayed for a long time for God to have his way with me and to turn me into what he wanted me to be, which I'm still in the process of. Like, I'm not there, but there was a lot of issues that were fixed before you knocked on the door. And even when you and I first met, was not interested in anybody. Didn't look at you that way. And it took a long time. Like, I even used to say, God himself would have to tell me that he sent me my spouse, because there's no way I want one. Like, I wasn't interested in dating. Like, I think I went 4 years where I was single before you and I went on a date. I didn't entertain people. Like, I was just not interested. And you have to be willing to be alone. If you can't stand to be alone, you need to pray about it, because maybe sometimes your subconscious like blocks out whatever the issue is, but you need to pray about, God, why don't I like to be alone? Like, help me to be okay to be alone, because the truth is that you're never alone. You always have Christ. You always have Jesus. So you have to learn how to be okay with it just being the two of you. And then while he works out some of the heart issues and some of the personality issues, whatever it is, while he works that out, he may also be working on your spouse who's doing the exact same thing. And the next thing you know, you just happen to you don't have to pray for your spouse. God's moving you guys. He's playing Sims. He's doing what needs to be done with both of you individually. But you want to make sure that you are the spouse that your spouse needs. Mm-hmm. Which, like I said, you're not going to be perfect. He and I work daily. We go through a lot of things. But we're soft-hearted toward each other. Which, from watching other people's marriages, I'm realizing that's a really big, we made it. Because we can communicate. We talk about our feelings. We're aware that we have some. If we have a bad day, it's not like the end of the world. We're just like, oh, okay. We're having a bad day. You have a bad day, I'll have a good one. Tomorrow I'll have a bad day and you can have a good one. We just do what we have to do. But that was things that we learned first because God was teaching us things. Neither of us were patient people. He taught us to be patient with each other because he taught us to be patient with ourselves. Mm. Neither of us loved other people, but we love each other because God worked on that first. So, a lot of words just to say, pray about your own issues first. I would go as far as to say don't be praying for a spouse. Nothing wrong with it, but just focus on you before you try to drag somebody else into a potential mess.
Because God's timing is perfect.
Yes.
And with you saying you can pray for your spouse and God will provide it, but that doesn't mean you're ready. I guess a very personal example is when we first got together. Man,
it's okay.
I would shut down at the smallest thing. And I wasn't good at communicating. And it wasn't until I saw how badly it affected us both that I was just okay, I'm done doing that. It's time to make a change. Of course, I couldn't do that on my own. I had to pray about it a lot. And that, I'm not exaggerating. That was a big thing to overcome. Praise the Lord. But, I just wanted to mention that because this whole time I haven't wanted to get up here and be oh, but we're so high up on a pedestal because, we're married and we have it all figured out. No. Like you said, we both have bad days. Mm-hmm. But that's what love is all about, is staying strong in that connection through the bad days, through no matter what situation gets thrown at us.
Well, and just, I know we're getting ready to wrap everything up, but just to also throw out there, love is not tied to marriage and to another person. So, we're married and I'm happy about it. You seem to be happy about it.
Very.
Good answer. No. But marriage is biblical and I'm all for it. If someone wanted to ask me about marriage, I wouldn't tell you that it's easy and it's fun and unicorns, but I would tell you, yes, go do it. But it's Jesus's love is individual. And if you are wanting true love, unconditional love, this whirlwind of just it just gives you goosies and you're just so happy, that comes from Jesus. And when you're trying to find it out of a person, that's when you start making a lot of messes. And then, thank you, God, because he comes around, he's okay, let's clean this up. Let's try to do better. But there's other things that we could probably use our prayer time for, other than it being, hey, God, I messed up again with this because I was lonely and I needed a quick hug, so just pray to Jesus and get closer to Jesus and you'll see a lot of this void just start, it'll just evaporate. And then when it's time for your person, they're going to be there. You're not missing out on them. They're not missing out on you. Like, you two are going to meet up when it is perfectly ordained by God. Like, heaven already wrote it down. So I wouldn't be in a hurry. Let things happen how they happen. Some people get married at 18. Some people get married at 50. Like, it doesn't matter. So whenever you meet your person, it'll be there. I would just say focus on understanding Christ's love for you and through you before you started trying to be like, why am I not a wife? Why am I not a husband? Like, why don't I have kids? Calm down. Hold your horses. It's coming. But, like, fix yourself first.
Don't let the infiltration change your culture and your viewpoint.
Yes.
And, Marco, what does it mean when you talk about love?
You want to close us out with some scripture?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. I got it bookmarked so we can go ahead and read. I don't know where it stops, but that's where it starts.
That's okay. We'll read because God is good and the Bible's good.
Yes.
The living word. Hallelujah. If you would like to read with us, it is 1 Corinthians 13:4. Right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away.
Love is patient, love is kind.
Yes. And I'm sorry for butchering it.
It's okay.
It's a lot easier to read in my head.
It's okay. If God can use Moses with a stutter and he can talk through a donkey, you fine. So.
You call me a donkey?
Anyway, y'all, it's been lovely, and I don't know like the history of Valentine's Day, so please don't come at me, but I think Valentine's Day is fun because it's pink and it's sparkly and it's flowers and it's chocolate and it's getting to like just I feel like for us every day is Valentine's Day. I'm going to be cheesy. I'm going to say that because I love you, but I just hope if you guys are celebrating that you have a fun Valentine's Day, fun and safe, and of course, we will link all of our socials down in the description box below. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. That would mean a lot. You can also follow the podcast and be updated every time that we post. What was the other thing? Oh, yes, we actually have a website now. I will put it up here on the screen if you're watching it all. But it is mnmcollective.com. And that's just a little place that has all of our socials linked as well, a little bit of about a bio about us. And in the future, some of our podcasts are also going to be uploaded on there as well, in case you ever just wanted to kind of do everything in one spot. So I think that's about it. I know I kind of said that as fast as possible, but in the description box.
I have one more thing to mention.
Okay.
If you are needing a Bible,
Yes.
or would simply just like to
gosh.
reach out to us, information slide in now.
I didn't do the sliding list.
Uh-oh. Is it House of Clemente?
It's houseofclemente@gmail.com. I have started using this little like ticker that goes down across the bottom of the screen, and the email should be lining up at some point, as well as some of our socials, if you guys haven't noticed that. So I'm sorry this was not an organized goodbye, but that's what keeps it real. Mm-hmm. So other than that, I think that we'll just see you guys next Wednesday.
All right.
All right, bye.
See ya.